What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Raymondtacular forever. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you haven't took the time to subscribe, please take time to do so. Make sure you turn on post bell notifications. That way you'll be notified to a little new video. I will be doing a giveaway once I reach 3,000 subscribers. I am 545 subscribers away from 3,000. Hopefully I can gain more genuine supporters than dead numbers, and that'll really turn my channel around. So I will be doing a giveaway once I reach 3,000 subscribers. The rules and the trade request will be uploaded in a separate video upon me reaching 3,000 subscribers. Today I'm about to share my thoughts on Derek Chauvin sentenced to 22 years in death of George Floyd. Yes, Derek Chauvin. I know I'm not saying the last name right, but Chauvin sentenced to 22 years in the death of George Floyd. Let me see if it's gonna play. I want to watch the video and talk about it as it play, because another creator brought it to my attention. Another creator brought it to my attention that it was on the news, and with how much I work, I missed it. And then I went and found an article on Google. Now I'm doing this. Now I'm doing the reaction. Okay, here we go.
It's not the appropriate time. I'm not basing my sentence also on public opinion. I'm not basing it on any attempt to send any messages. A trial court judge, the job of a trial court judge is to apply the law to specific facts and to deal with individual cases. And so, Mr. Chauvin, as to count one, based on the verdict of the jury finding you guilty of unintentional second-degree murder while committing a felony under Minnesota Statute 609.19 subdivision 2 paren 1.
Now, I want to point out, he said he didn't make a decision to set an example. He did not make a decision based on what the media said, what the prosecutor said. He making his decision. The judge said he making a decision based on facts, on what was done. Just wanted to point that out.
It is the judgment of the court that you now stand convicted of that offense. Pursuant to Minnesota Statute Section 60904, counts 2 and 3 will remain unadjudicated as they are lesser offenses of count 1. As sentenced for count 1, the court commits you to the custody of the Commissioner of Corrections for a period of 270 months. That's 270. That is a 10-year addition to the presumptive sentence of 150 months. This is based on your abuse of a position of trust and authority, and also the particular cruelty shown to George Floyd. You were granted credit for 199 days already served. Pay the mandatory surcharge of $78 to be paid from prison wages. You're prohibited from possessing firearms, ammunition, or explosives for the remainder of your life. Provide a DNA sample as required by law. Register as a predatory offender as required by law. And then you will receive a copy of the order and also the attached memorandum explaining the court's analysis. Anything further from the state?
If this needs to be said, we just ask that it be executed.
So he was sentenced to 22 years in prison and got to serve. I got to get that later. 22 years in prison. Let's get past that part. 22 years in prison he got to serve. He going to work and pay off his court costs and stuff from the wages he made while incarcerated for 22 years. He didn't show no kind of remorse, no kind of reaction or nothing to hearing the judge say he's sentenced to 22 years. Just like when he found guilty of all them charges, no kind of reaction whatsoever. Let you know he a real cold-hearted person. If you don't mind me saying, that's a cold-hearted person. They want to share that with y'all, but I also want to share some other information that's in the article on, I found the article on CNN.com. I want to read that. Derek Chauvin, the former police officer who killed George Floyd on a Minneapolis street last year, was sentenced Friday to 22 and a half years in prison. Chauvin is a light gray suit and a tie and white shirt. Spoke briefly before this sentence was imposed, offering his condolences to Floyd family. Too late to say your condolences, man. Too late. Too late to say your condolences. You should have did that after they told you the man was dead. That's when you should have gave your condolences. Not after you don't got sentences. If I was his parents, if I was George Floyd's parents, I wouldn't want to accept your condolences. Be like, what we need your condolences for now? Oh, now you're going to be remorseful? As you get sentenced to 22 years, now you want to be remorseful. Huh? Laugh in your face. Tell you enjoy your life in prison. Where was I? Under Minnesota law, Chauvin would have to serve 2/3 of his sentence. 2/3 of his sentence, or 15 years, and he would be eligible for supervised release for the remaining 7.5 years. So he got to do 7.5 years of 22. He got to do 7.5 years before he eligible for parole, supervised parole, which is parole with conditional release. The sentence exceeds the Minnesota sentencing guideline range of 10 years and 8 months to 15 years for the crime. Floyd death sparked massive protests across the nation over police brutality. Judge Peter Chauvin said the sentence was not based on emotion or public opinion. He wanted to acknowledge the deep and tremendous pain that all the families are feeling, especially the Floyd family. And the judge said, in a 22-page memorandum, Chauvin wrote that 2 aggravating factors warranted a harsher sentence: that Chauvin abused his position of trust or authority and treated Floyd with particular cruelty. Chauvin, the judge wrote, treated Floyd without respect and denied him the dignity owed to all human beings. And I agree with that. Chauvin said the former officer objectively remained indifferent to Mr. Floyd's pleas, and even as Mr. Floyd was begging for his life and obviously terrified by the knowledge that he was likely to die, Mr. Chauvin prolonged restraint of Mr. Floyd was also much longer and more painful than a typical scenario in a second-degree or third-degree murder or a second-degree manslaughter case, the judge wrote. Chauvin will remain in a restricted housing unit separated from the general population at the Minnesota Correctional Faculty, Oak Park Heights, for the time being. Minnesota Department of Corrections spokesperson Sarah Zitzerin told CNN. Now that tell you right there, he's already not in general population. He's already in protected custody in regular jail. And that should tell y'all, when as this been a high-profile case, 9 times out of 10, Derek Chauvin will also be housed separately from general population once he get to prison. Can't no prison afford to have a riot breakout because he on the compound. Can't no prison in Minnesota afford that. No prison in America can afford that. There's going to be a lot of problems that going to take days to calm down until this man is dead. Just want to clear that up with y'all. His ultimate placement is underestimated, but his safety would be our predominant concern when determining final placement. Freshman said, adding Chauvin has been on administrative segregation status for his general safety. For his safety. Is like I just said, for his safety only, he will be in protected custody. You know, this is a high-profile case. He got to do 7.5 years before he's eligible for supervised parole. I feel that sentence good. I feel it's good. I didn't expect him to get that. I thought first time convicted felon that he probably gonna get 5 years in or 10 years in, followed by the rest on probation or something like that. But it played out better than what I expected. Out of 22 years, he got to do 7.5 incarcerated in prison, and then come home and do another 7.5 on conditional release. I don't know how Minnesota is on they prisoners that's released on conditional release. On parole. But I know from the stories I heard in Florida, it's pretty hell to be on conditional release. It's pretty hell to be on parole in Florida. I know a lot of people don't violate it. Come home, you get home 5 minutes late for work because of traffic or because you was in the car. And your parole officer ain't trying to hear none of that in Florida. Your parole officer not trying to hear none of that. No excuses. No excuses. No excuses. You know what I mean? That would come to the game. If I was him, I want to do my whole. I would want to do my whole time. But that's just me. That just me. You know what I mean? That's just me. Cause that's what I did when I did my bid. Like, nah. You know what I mean? I could have been home in 2.5 years instead of doing the whole 4 years, but so now forget all that. After all the stories I hear around Florida prisons, I'm good. I watched too many people leave on conditional release just to go home and get laid. You know what I mean? Mess up and come back to the same prison. Like, dang, bro, you back already? Yeah, man, you know, but I got laid by a young girl. You know, I got laid by somebody younger than me. So what? You back in prison. You know what I mean? But people was hearing on the phone at corner where Floyd was killed. Chauvin, 45, was convicted in April on charges of second-degree unintentional murder, third-degree murder, and second-degree manslaughter for his role in Floyd's death. Floyd's final moments captured on searing cell phone footage by a 17-year-old, illustrating a clear visual what Black Americans have long said about how the criminal justice system treats black people. Floyd's death set off massive protests across the globe, as well as incidents of looting and unrest. Now, I just hope this whole situation send a message to all cops out there, whether you're racist or not. Any cop that any cop that overdo more than what they should do when they're arresting someone, I hope this send a message to every one of y'all. You know what I mean? Cause I'm pretty sure more cops gonna get some time as this goes on, as time goes on, and I'm pretty sure more incident with innocent black men gonna get killed behind the hands of cops, white cops or whatnot. And I hope this send a message to every last one of y'all. Whether you like this is where he didn't pull no trigger. He held his knee on George Floyd's neck until he died. Regardless, if you abuse your privilege as a cop, I hope this send a message to every one of y'all. Every cop in America that abuse their privilege of being a law officer, I hope this send a message to every one of y'all. Every last one of y'all. 22 years. Y'all hear that loud and clear. 22 years. 22 years he got to do. 1/3 going to be in prison if he stay out of trouble and everything while in there, which he will, because he's going to be on a PC, which is protective custody. So he'll come home with another 7.5 years to do. So when he get out, he's 42. He'll be 49 years old when he get released. Then they're 50. You know what I mean? All because of a bad decision he made. All because of a bad decision he made. Now you on the other side of the law. You know, and likely might be one of them officers that want to hurt you. You know, why are you in the corrections? Why are you incarcerated? You know what I mean? So I just hope this be a eye opener. Now I can celebrate. Because it's all done. The man got 7.5 years to do, followed by 7.5 years of parole. Now I feel good. This is what a celebration should be. Yeah, everybody should be excited. This man got sentenced. And hopefully we gotta pray our butt off that I'm not gonna say all the cops that abuse their privileges of being a law officer, law enforcement, but at least half of them get the message now. You know, you can't hide behind that badge forever. You cannot hide behind that badge forever. Because justice will be served one way or another. As you can see in this situation, justice was served. 22 years this guy got to do. David Chauvin, 22 years. 7.5 in, 7.5 out. 22 years this man has to do. Away from his family. If he got children, them too. Okay. When you do the wrong, you got to pay the cost. You know? You got to pay that cost, man. 22 years, officers. Nationwide. I hope y'all listening real clear. Hope all y'all were glued to the TV for this one. 22 years this man got sentenced to. 7.5 in, 7.5 out. 7.5 in, 7.5 out. 22 years. You know, I want to send my condolences to his daughter, his family. You know. Hey, I hope y'all pleased with how this played out, with the sentencing and everything, and you know, I look forward to seeing more officers go down for what they did, go to prison for what they did, get the same kind of sentencing. 20 some years. You know what I mean? Hey, one false move, look. One false move and look what happened now. Hey, you're a convicted felon. You know what I mean? 3 felonies on your record just that fast. Just snap of a finger. Snap of a finger. You a 3-time convicted felon now. You know what I mean? Hey. Everybody, not just law enforcement, everybody should be careful of the choices we make every day. Because just that fast, that man's whole life, now he on the other side of the law. Now he's now looked as a criminal like the rest of us. You know, I know we all are criminals some kind of way. Some get caught, some don't. But hey, I'm pleased with the results. I would say getting the whole 22 years in. Getting the whole 22 in. Getting the whole 22 years in prison. That's what I would have did. Mandatory. You know, I would say mandatory. We're going to give you a mandatory 22 years for the death of George Floyd for abusing your privileges as a law officer. I would have gave you the whole 20. If I was a judge, you'd have got sentenced to the whole 22 years in prison with a chance of no parole. You got to do it straight, mandatory, the whole 22 years. That's just in my opinion. You know, you took this man's life, this man in the ground pleading and begging for his life. He can't breathe and all this whatnot, and you still, with no remorse, through the sentencing, through the verdict of you being found guilty of all the charges, no remorse, no sympathy whatsoever. Through the sentencing of the how much time you getting, no sympathy whatsoever. You know what I mean? I would have made my sentence based on all them 3 facts, based on everything that's in black and white, based on the video, based on the law, based on you abusing your privileges as a law enforcement, and also based on you ignoring all George Floyd's pleas for his life. That's what I base my sentencing on for you if I was a judge. That's just my opinion. You know, I'm sharing my thoughts on this. So y'all tell me in the comment how y'all feel about the sentencing. Do you feel it worth it? Do you feel it worth the crime that he did? Let me know in the comments. I will give you a shout out. My shout out video the last Sunday in July. If you like this video, remember to subscribe, like, comment, and share. Most importantly, turn on post bell notifications that we can be notified every time I upload a new video. And I'll see y'all on my next vlog. Y'all enjoy y'all weekend. As you see, I'm headed to work, and it's pouring down rain. I'm standing right here instead of going over there to the bus stop, because there ain't no shed, ain't nothing to protect me from the rain over to the bus stop, you know. But the bus should be here in a few minutes or whatever. But y'all enjoy y'all weekend. It's the last weekend in June of 2021. I don't know how excited y'all is, but hey, half of 2021 almost over. I'm so excited. I cannot hide it. I know it's almost over.